Hello, listeners. Today I'm going to be talking about trends, networks, and critical thinking in the 21st century. This is a vast and complex topic, but I'll try to give you a general overview of some of the key concepts. So, starting off, the definition of trends and fads. So, what is a fad? A fad is an activities or things that are popular in a short period of time. It is a trend that is very popular for a short time. Fads are often driven by popular culture and social media. And next is trend. What is a trend? Trend is an activities or things that are popular in a long period of time. It is a change in behavior that happens over time. Trends can be seen in everything from fashion and music to technology and politics. So, trend is different from fad. The difference between the two is trend is popular in a long period while fad is popular in a short period. But the similarity of the two is they are both popular. They are both popular in that moment, but to trend it lasts a long time, but in fad it is just popular for a short period of time. So let's move on to trend spotting. Trend spotting is the process of finding new and emerging trends. Trend analysts study trends to understand why they happen and what the effects will be. And there are elements of a trend. The first element of a trend is number of people, like how many people are following the trend. And the second element of a trend is behavior or pattern of behavior, like what are people doing that is part of the trend, like unsay effect or impact sa mga people nga gagamit ana nga trend or nagparticipate ana nga trend. The third element is cause. It refers to the starting point of a trend, like what is making the trend happen. And the last element of a trend is consequences. It refers to the considerable impact or influence of a trend, like what are the positive and negative impacts of the trend. Is it a good impact or it is a bad impact of that specific trend? So now let's move on to understanding a part of a whole. Understanding a part of a whole, in order to understand a trend, it is important to understand how it relates to the whole. For example, the trend of selfie taking is part of a larger cultural trend of individualism and self-expression. And according to Aristotle, the whole is not equal to the sum of the part, and the sum of the part is not equal to the whole. And according to Democritus, he believed that the parts has great significance in understanding a whole. And now let's move on and how to make a trend. There are four steps to making a trend. First one is spotting a trend. Identify and identify a trend. And the second one is documentation, which means you need to document the trend. Maybe you'll use pictures, you'll use videos, um, you'll use some of newspapers, magazines, but anything that is a document. And the second one is archive. Um, to collect and organize information about the trend, it is archiving what you gather data, archiving your documentation. And the last is analysis. Identify the causes and effects of a trend. Identifying the causes and effects, identifying what will be the outcome and what will be the um, what will be the cause of that outcome. And the last one is presentation. After you gather the documentation, after you archive, and after doing the analysis, you need to present your trend. So let's now move on to strategic analysis and intuitive thinking. Strategic analysis is a process of thinking that involves carefully planning and considering all of the options before making a decision, while intuitive thinking is a process of thinking that is more spontaneous and less deliberate. So the difference of strategic analysis is it requires more process. It needs planning. It needs a considerable choices and planning. While intuitive thinking, it does not require planning, it does not require long process. You just said what comes out of your mind. It's like natural. It's the natural that comes in your mind. Both strategic analysis and intuitive thinking are important skills to have for understanding and analyzing trends. Strategic analysis can help us to identify the potential and consequences of trends, while intuitive thinking can help us to spot new and emerging trends. And now let's move on to thinking skills. Thinking skills are the mental abilities that we use to process information and make decisions. These skills are essential for analyzing trends and solving problems. Thinking skills can be used in problem solving, in using to make decisions, to ask questions, or to make a plan and to organize information. Some of the key thinking skills that are important for analyzing trends include critical thinking, which is the ability to analyze information and evaluate arguments. By the way, this thinking skills, this some of the key thinking skills is not included in our topic, but I'll just add it so that you can understand thinking skills. So there are some of the key thinking skills that are important for analyzing trends include critical thinking, which is the ability to analyze information and evaluate arguments. And the second one is creative thinking, in which the ability to come up with a new and innovative ideas. And the third one is analytical thinking, the ability to break down complex problems into smaller and more manageable parts. So the next topic is about strategic analysis. Strategic analysis is a process of thinking that involves carefully planning and considering all of the options before making a decision. So, muna siya kung ganyan nga, strategic analysis, it needs a process. You need to plan it carefully. And so there are steps involved in strategic analysis. And this includes identifying the problem or goal. And the second one is analyze the problem. And the third one is generating solution. You need to generate a solution. And the fourth one is implement the solution. And the last one is reflect on the outcome. We also talk about the SWOT analysis, which means S for strength, O for opportunities, and W for weakness, and T for threats. And I will no longer discuss about SWOT because it we did not discuss it. We did not really discuss it deep. So let's now move on to the last topic, which is globalization. Globalization, according to Roland Robinson, globalization is the understanding of world and the increased perception of the world as a whole. For me, globalization is the process of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence between different countries and cultures. And also, globalization is driven by a number of factors, including technology. First is technology. Advances in transportation and communication technology have made it easier for people and goods to move around the world. For example, the mobile phone Samsung, which it is made from Korea. And Samsung phone right now is popular around the world. It the mobile phone Samsung is what do you call this one? The mobile phone Samsung is scattered or it's being scattered or it's being known or the world is using it, which it is called globalization, which is a thing is just from a certain place, or let's call it's just came from a one country, which is Korea, and then because of and it is called globalization when the whole world is using the Samsung, so it is called globalization. So the second one is economics. Governments have adopted policies that promote trade and investment between countries. And the third one is culture. The internet and social media have made it easier for people from different cultures to connect and share information. To end this discussion, I would like to um, I would like to I would like to what do you call this one? I would like to select. I would like to gusto na ko i-appeal ng last topic, which is globalization has a number of positive and negative impacts. We all know that globalization has not only have good impacts but also have bad impacts. The good impacts of globalization includes increased trade. Globalization has led to increased trade between countries, which has boosted economic growth around the world. And the second one is more opportunities. Globalization has created new opportunities for people to travel, to work, and study in other countries. So the other one is the negative impacts. The negative impacts of globalization is, I would like to say it first, is the number one negative impact of globalization include environmental problems. Globalization can lead to environmental problems such as pollution and climate change. So, my example for this one is um, the the importing of goods and products from different countries across the world. So due to the exporting and importing goods and products, exchanging products and goods across the world, um, our there are many transpo that is being used, such as there are more airplanes, there are more cargo ships, and many more transportation that can be used to export and import products from across the world, and it leads to pollution, which is air pollution, due to because daghan na kayo mga mga sakyanan, kay tungod lagi na ng maghatod og mga products. Example, ang Philippines maghatod sa products sa China, sa Korea, sa US, and then ang US maghatag na pod og products sa Malaysia, sa Indonesia, sa Vietnam, which means daghan na kayo ang mga sakyanan nga gamit, and it leads to air pollution. Nagkadako ang air pollution, which leads to climate change. And I think that is all about my discussion, and I hope this is helpful.